Like it's meant to be mounted into a case. So even though it would kind of work, it's just these grooves need to be like 1/8 of an inch deeper, and I would be able to mount that vertical GPU mount. But so we'll just stick with it normal, mount the AIO there temporarily, and then when I move into the new house and we get the first round of testing done, I'll move everything into a new case. Because ultimately this whole frame, and you can see in the back there's more bars to support the motherboard. That was one of my choices, but I ruled it out because it's too big. One of my initial builds was going to be, I had planned on doing Intel the whole time until I got this thing with Asus, and the Intel board that I was going to use was a full EATX board, and so I was actually going to go with the 5000D. Now I need one that's a slightly smaller. That one's a little, it would work, but it's a little on the big side. And 7000Ds are, and what about that new one that they just released? I forget what it is. I think it's like the 5400 or something like that. It is huge, but it's huge like square. And then they have it all cordoned off into 3 separate chambers with that like acrylic funnels. It's crazy. But because my AIO, because the tubes come out in the middle, I can't use that one because it's meant to have the AIO radiator mounted in the front with the hoses coming out the top and around. Like that's the only way you can mount it in that case. But that case is really cool, and I've seen the tests, and the airflow in that case is amazing. But it's like $300, really expensive. Spect. What? And 420s, I thought you were. Who makes that? The 4000D. Yeah, that's really nice. That's like perfect. Did you get your yeah, exactly. And that was where I was when I was planning for that. I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to get a big one that I know is going to have a lot of room on the inside. And now knowing a little more of exactly how to tailor it in, I think I've narrowed it down to 2. I'm not sure yet, though. Tune in after the move, and you'll find out. I may be able to get it sooner than later, but... You okay, puppy? What you doing? What was that all about? Picking a case is fun, but isn't it just kind of overwhelming? There are so many cases now, and so many different brands as well. You've got all your Lee and Lees, the NZXTs, NZXT, height. So many. And a lot of them look so similar, but they've got like key differences. And then when it came to, I was going to go with one that like had a screen or something on it. But when I finally decided to go with that Ryu 4 and that big curved screen, that kind of ruled all those cases out. There's just no point in having like multiple screens. Because again, I'm curious to see how much resources that takes up to like having it just show diagnostics is one thing. It only pulls every couple of minutes or something. But if you've got like a clip or a video or something like that playing on there, it's going to be constantly, you know, pulling the GPU for that or the PC, either one. I mean, it's going to be always wanting that update and to keep the video going. And I'm curious to see how much that actually uses. Because, yes, some people have one on their AIO, some people, and then one on the motherboard, and then one on the case. And it's like, you really need that many screens? I mean, the idea was, I'm sure, to have one. Yeah, it is nice to have big ones. And then, yeah, are you getting a new monitor now? Did you finally get your GPU in, Tay? I've been kind of asking, and then you probably answered me, and I might have missed it. Oh, of course he's dead. How we let all these guys get in here so close? Get away from me. Figured we'd get at least one out of that. I think it was a bot, though. Dang, how did we get way over here? Not paying attention. There we go. And you guys are all toast. God, I've still got 5 left. A negative two. Uh-oh. Where'd he go? There he is. We missed that F-16, and he's, yeah, on me hard. I kind of thought I had more speed than that. I thought I had more speed than that. There was I think there was one other plane behind me too. I was initially just trying to hold the scannable area on that J-10, and he refused to die. I wanted to go back and fight those guys that ended up killing me, but I still assumed I was going fast enough to outrun them, and damn it, those missiles didn't catch me. Caught me straight up from behind, went right up my tailpipe. Thought for sure I would outrun those. All right, let me get caught up here a little bit, and I didn't really stretch either. And yeah, another bumper, man. You got to have another one. Yeah, dude, to have it work out this way with it being Asus and then them providing me all Asus stuff, it's just like, oh my goodness. So I almost went with the there was an Asus case I was going to use that was on the cheaper end, the A31, but no. And then the Hyperon and the other one, it's just, I really wanted the Hyperon, but now that I'm doing the build, it's just too much. It's just too much money to sink into a case, especially one that's not, I mean, it's kind of high end with the 96 gigs and the processor, but again, the motherboard is still kind of budget. I mean, it was supposed to be a budget build till that RAM showed up. The power supply is one that I've had for a while when I was intending to do another build, so it's a little dated, but it should still power everything fine. So yeah, when you finally dig into it, I will say, as easy as all the components are to work with nowadays, there's just so much more to choose from. So, oh God, you can really dial in your builds now with just very specific, components that have, relatively specific settings coming out of the box. Like when you're talking about RAM, a lot more processors to choose from, a lot more motherboards to choose from, with all different functionality being given to different chipsets. And you have to pay attention to that, because if you get, if you're expecting something out of your processor and you don't pay attention enough to your motherboard, there's a lot of times that you won't get that just by trying to save a couple of bucks. Oh, well, that motherboard doesn't allow the processor to use all those lanes or all those, memory things and this and that. There's lots of different things. USB ports, little things like that. So it just was kind of mind blowing when I started really digging into it earlier. That was like last December when I decided to do a build and was going through it. I'm like, holy cow, there's a lot of stuff nowadays. I feel today. What's the Gamers Nexus about the 420s review? I'm going to check this out with the 420s. Why haven't I heard of that? Nice to know you. Yeah, luckily I've had good experiences with both. I've never had any issue with any Asus product I've ever had, and I've had at least a video card in every build I've ever done. I was going back on it. I'm pretty sure that very first build I did had a real cheap Asus video card in it. And then Corsair, I did have 2 AIOs fail on me. One failed early on. They replaced it right away, kind of no questions asked. And they even upgraded it because the one that I had, they didn't make anymore. So they upgraded it. And then the second failure was just because it sat in storage for so long. I mean, it was inevitable when it's not being used. But I have heard plenty of horror stories where dealing with them is not good, and that some of their products don't work together the way they're supposed to, and not getting the life out of them. And of course, I'm talking, I think my build was in 2012. So this keyboard is relatively new, Corsair. And then everything I'm using minus the power supply. The power supply is an AX1200i, and that, I forget when they stopped making that, but I think it was like 2013, 2014, something like that, when they stopped making it. So I've had it for a little bit, but it's a really good power supply, and it'll definitely get me to the next upgrade. So the GPU and the power supply, I'm going to have to upgrade relatively short order, but you kind of want to upgrade those two things together anyway. I've been here all along. Not sure why I jumped back in this plane. And it does seem like while I'm really happy with the fans that I've got, I will say that a couple of the things... He shot... That's why you don't shoot them that close together. It's exactly why. Oh, where'd that come from? I forgot about the guy on the right. I was too excited about the 2 in front of me that I was about to kill. God, this plane is so good. All right. I meant to hop over into China. Yeah, they have. And well, like the ones that I got are the Q series ones, and they have little temperature sensor in it. And that's like the only reason that I can see like spending any extra for fans right now, unless they've got some kind of stupid RPM, airflow speed or something. Yeah, they've gotten kind of dumb. As cool as like the aluminum type, bodied fans and stuff are, unless you're like building a server and you've got, multiple GPUs and multiple SSDs and like, it's just not necessary. And there's no reason for them to be price gouging the normal consumer like that and giving that kind of power when it's not needed. Even with the 5090 series, if you're like have a top end build and it's got a nice processor and a 5090 in it, you still don't need cooling like that. These things are so overpowered. Well, you need good cooling, don't get me wrong. It's not like some of them aren't. They are kind of overpriced just for the lighting. All this lighting is just unnecessary. Some of the fan speed power, I kind of misspoke there. When it comes to the cooling and the